Welcome to Adu Globe. Discover new ideas, learn exciting things, and be amazed every day. In August 2025, a story emerged that caught the attention of analysts and global observers. Ukraine claimed it had carried out a bold operation that caused serious damage to Russia's bomber fleet. This operation, known as Spiderweb, quickly became the focus of intense discussion. Reports suggested that Russia's long-range missile strategy may be under heavy pressure. However, international and independent sources presented varying assessments about the true scale of the losses, leaving room for debate and curiosity. Some experts noted that Russia might now be shifting toward greater reliance on drone warfare, raising questions about whether this reflects weakness or a new strategy. These developments have sparked global conversations about the changing face of modern conflict. In this video, we will carefully explore what this operation was, what different reports say, and how experts interpret its potential global impact. Join us as we break down this evolving story with a neutral and educational lens. For years, Russia's cruise missiles have been described by analysts as one of the central pillars of its long-range military strategy. According to multiple reports, these weapons were considered capable of reaching deep into enemy territory with precision, shaping the early phases of the conflict. Experts often noted that cruise missiles allowed Moscow to project power far beyond the front lines, while keeping its bombers and launchers at a safer distance. This created a sense of fear and unpredictability, as the exact timing and targets of such strikes were difficult to anticipate. Reports from previous years suggest that Ukraine faced waves of missile and drone attacks targeting energy systems, communication lines, and critical infrastructure. During the winter months, such strikes were reported to cause blackouts in major cities, leaving civilians struggling in the cold. According to independent observers, these attacks were often paired with drone strikes, including models reportedly supplied by foreign partners. The combination created both physical damage and psychological pressure, testing the resilience of Ukrainian defenses. As time passed, Ukraine developed new strategies to counter these attacks. According to defense analysts, the use of mobile air defense systems, radar coordination, and rapid response units began to reduce the effectiveness of incoming missiles. In addition, reports highlight that Ukraine launched deep strikes of its own, often using drones, against airbases, fuel depots, and even military factories far inside Russian territory. Each such strike carried symbolic weight, signaling that Ukraine was no longer only defending but also finding ways to disrupt the logistics of its opponent. According to recent assessments, the balance of missile warfare has started to shift. Where once Russia relied heavily on cruise missiles to pressure Ukraine, now increasing reports point to production challenges, sanctions, and growing dependence on drone swarms instead of sophisticated missiles. Experts caution that it is difficult to verify every claim, but the overall picture suggests that the air war is evolving into a contest of adaptation, resilience, and innovation on both sides. This shift has left many asking whether Russia's traditional missile advantage is eroding and how Ukraine's strikes might reshape the future of the conflict. In late summer, reports began to surface about a bold Ukrainian mission, later referred to as Operation Spiderweb. According to Ukrainian sources, the plan was designed as one of the most coordinated long-range drone offensives of the conflict. The operation reportedly involved a large fleet of drones, each programmed to strike specific targets deep inside Russian territory. Observers described it as a moment that illustrated how unconventional tactics were reshaping the battlefield, moving away from heavy reliance on traditional missiles toward swarms of unmanned systems. According to claims by Ukrainian officials, as many as 117 drones were launched in a single coordinated wave. Each drone was said to carry a limited but precise payload, designed to overwhelm Russian air defenses by sheer volume. Independent analysts noted that the use of over 100 drones at once marked one of the largest documented swarm attacks in modern warfare. While verifying exact numbers is difficult, defense experts have pointed out that the psychological impact of such a massive operation was undeniable. The Security Service of Ukraine (SBU) claimed that this wave caused significant disruption. According to their official statements, approximately 34% of Russia's bomber fleet at a specific base was disabled or destroyed. While these figures have not been independently confirmed, the claim itself gained international attention, sparking debates among analysts about the accuracy and wider implications. Reports emphasized that even if the numbers were exaggerated, the very fact that Ukraine was able to strike so deep was already a powerful signal of capability and intent. Experts noted that Operation Spiderweb represented more than just a tactical strike. It symbolized a shift in the way Ukraine was approaching long-range warfare. According to military observers, the heavy use of drones showcased Ukraine's ability to adapt, innovate, and challenge Russia's traditional missile advantage. For many watching, it raised questions about the future of warfare. Would swarms of small, smart drones replace the dominance of expensive cruise missiles? And how might Russia respond to this new wave of technology-driven attacks? The answers remain uncertain, but the operation left no doubt that the air war is evolving in unexpected ways. According to independent assessments, satellite imagery reviewed by open-source analysts and international media indicated a smaller, but still significant, loss than some early claims. Reports describe scorched tarmac, blast marks, and aircraft silhouettes altered or missing at several parking stands. Based on these visuals, multiple analysts estimated that roughly 10 to 12 bombers were destroyed, with additional airframes reportedly damaged or under repair. While precise counts vary by source and date of imagery, the pattern suggested a concentrated strike that disrupted normal operations without conclusively crippling the entire fleet. Ukrainian officials, including statements attributed to the SBU, claimed that approximately 34% of the bomber fleet at targeted locations was disabled or destroyed. By contrast, independent tallies based on commercial satellite images and defense think tank reviews put the figure lower, often citing 10 to 12 total bombers destroyed plus several damaged. According to these reports, the difference stems from how destroyed, disabled, or out of action are defined, and whether temporarily grounded aircraft are counted alongside total losses. Analysts note that wartime data is fluid. According to defense researchers, angles of imagery, hangar coverage, and rapid repairs can shift estimates over days. Some reports include aircraft believed to be non-flyable, others only count airframes visibly destroyed. Meanwhile, periodic redeployment may obscure before and after comparisons. The result is a spread of plausible numbers rather than a single fixed total. Experts caution that each methodology has limits, and that confidence levels improve when multiple dates of imagery and cross-checked sources align. Putting both versions together, the available evidence suggests a noteworthy strike with measurable impact. However, the exact scale remains under debate. According to independent reviews, destruction figures are likely below the highest claims, while still non-trivial in operational terms. For viewers, the key is to separate claims from verified observations, recognize uncertainty, and track how new imagery and reports refine the picture over time. In other words, the outcome appears significant, but the final numbers are still being vetted. According to multiple reports, Russia's long-range approach appears to be adjusting toward larger drone deployments and more selective missile use. Analysts suggest sanctions and production bottlenecks may have raised the cost and cadence barriers for advanced cruise missiles, encouraging a wider mix of loitering munitions and expendable UAVs. This does not imply disappearance of missiles. Rather, experts describe a recalibration. Conserve high-end stocks, saturate with drones, probe air defenses, and strike when windows open. The pattern, if sustained, could reshape the tempo and texture of long-range attacks. According to open-source assessments, Russia's drone usage has drawn attention to potential external supply channels. Some reports discuss alleged material or component flows linked to partners such as Iran or North Korea, while noting that verification varies by source and timeframe. Analysts emphasize logistics. Electronics, engines, and guidance parts can define output far more than headlines do. If dependency on imported systems or subcomponents persists, future operations may hinge on how reliably those pipelines function under pressure. According to defense observers, Ukrainian air defense integration and deep strike experimentation have reinforced perceptions of agency and adaptability. Reports highlight growing confidence in layered defenses, mobile launchers, and counter-drone tactics, alongside targeted strikes meant to disrupt fuel, repair, or bomber basing rhythms. For many viewers, the story is less about a single operation and more about learning cycles: test, analyze, iterate. That iterative mindset, analysts say, can sustain morale by showing that each month may deliver incremental gains in survivability and reach. Looking ahead, experts outline two broad possibilities. According to one view, Russia could stabilize production and blend drones with periodic missile salvos to maintain strategic pressure. Another view suggests continued constraints could push heavier reliance on UAV swarms and electronic warfare, inviting Ukraine to expand counter-UAS nets and precision deep strikes. Both scenarios keep the contest dynamic, adaptation versus adaptation. The exact outcome remains under debate, but the direction seems clear. Future engagements may be decided less by single, silver bullets, and more by who learns, scales, and sustains faster. Imagine sitting with pieces of a grand puzzle on the table, each piece shaped by reports, satellite glimpses, and official claims. Some observers suggest that nearly one-third of a strategic bomber fleet may have been affected. If that claim holds weight, the implications stretch far. Russia's long-range strike posture could be entering a vulnerable phase, where sustained operations would require creative substitutions, stockpile reshuffling, or intensified reliance on drones. Viewers, in that scenario, may ask themselves, what does a power projection look like when a sizable fraction of its heavy platforms is sidelined? Yet other independent sources paint a more modest picture. Perhaps closer to 20% damage, perhaps even less, depending on which frame of data is considered reliable. If this is closer to reality, then the story becomes less about crisis and more about resilience. In such a reading, Russia's long-range strike backbone may remain largely intact, capable of continuing pressure, though with heightened caution and protective measures. The message in this version is not collapse, but endurance, a fleet reduced, but still formidable, with an emphasis on safeguarding bases and rotating assets. And so, the narrative hangs between two truths, one dramatic, one measured. Analysts underline that both interpretations circulate simultaneously because absolute clarity is rare in active conflicts. The real intrigue for observers lies not in choosing one version, but in watching how each possibility alters the next chapter. If a fleet is significantly degraded, new strategies must emerge quickly. If only lightly dented, then pressure persists, and adaptation shifts elsewhere. In either case, the mystery remains open-ended, pulling the audience deeper into the unfolding story. In the end, the truth remains layered in shadows. On one side, Ukraine claims its Spiderweb operation destroyed a significant portion of Russia's bomber fleet. On the other, independent satellite images and Western reports suggest the damage may have been smaller, around 10 to 12 aircraft. Both versions exist, and perhaps reality lies somewhere in between. What is certain is that the battle is not only fought with missiles and drones, but also with information, narratives, and perception. This video is created solely for informational and research purposes. All details are based on multiple reports, claims, and independent sources. It does not support or oppose any country, side, or organization. Now the question turns to you. Which version do you think is closer to reality? Was the damage massive, or limited? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you found this story informative, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more research-based content.